Next, we want to add a curtain wall here where we have an opening. Actually, if we didn't have an opening here and if this was a wall, we could still embed a curtain wall. Let's see how that works, and then I would show you another way. Let's actually delete these two pieces. And then let's add a wall here. Project, make sure you always save your project. This is interior. Let's change the type to the exterior CMU insulated. So let's go from here. Oh, that is too thick actually. Let's check what was the type here. So the type was basic wall generic 12. Let's use the same one. So back to wall. Let's change that to generic 12-inch. And then let's go from this endpoint to this endpoint. So now if I want to, and this was going actually from level 1 to level 2, let's make it go, click on modify, click on the wall. Let's change this to go all the way to the roof. And then let's say I want to embed a curtain wall here. So now if you go back to architecture tab again, wall command is already selected. So you can just change the type. Now if you change the type to storefront, so it's going from level 1 to level 2. Let's change that to go all the way to the roof. Now if you go over this one, it should embed the wall there. If we go to 3D, you see how I could embed a curtain wall or a storefront here, and it already includes the grids and mullions. So that is one way to add a curtain wall if you already have an existing wall. But let's try another way, and that is the way that is described in the chapter. But remember this, how to embed a curtain wall. If you already have a wall and you don't want to create a curtain wall that goes all the way around, and you want to have pieces of the wall on each side, this is the best way to embed a curtain wall inside an existing wall. Now let's actually do Control Z. I already created a wall here, so I can modify the top offset and bottom offset. I want this one to go from level 1 to level 2. So let's the base constraint is level 1, the top constraint, let's change that to level 2. There we go. Then actually I'm going to go back to level 1, and then I want to add a curtain wall on top of this one. So then you go back to wall. Let's use curtain wall 1 so I can show you something else. It's going from level 1 to roof. I already have a wall from level 1 to level 2. So let's change this one to go from level 2 to the roof. So then I'm going to go from this endpoint to this endpoint, and none of the created elements are visible in floor plan. Let's change the view and see if it shows. There we go. Here is my curtain wall. So as you see, this type of the curtain wall 1, does not have grids and mullions. So if you go back to architecture tab, you see under build panel, I have the option to create grids and also mullions. So if you click on curtain grid, and don't use curtain system, that's for something else. We will see how that is used. If you click on curtain grid, then you can add these grids, and we want them to be 5 feet feet away from each other. So either you can eyeball it, or again, you can click on these dimensions and change it. So you need to either hit escape or go to modify and then select that to be able to change this dimension. Let's change that to 5. Okay. Next one, back to architecture. Let me change the, oops, I clicked on the wrong button. Actually not a bad view. So I'm still in 3D, but I can choose to look at it from front or back. So here, okay, actually make it easier to eyeball it. 3, 4, so make sure you hold, see, if you hold your mouse on the top edge, it will create vertical ones. If you hold it on the vertical edge, it will create horizontal ones. So again, I'm going to add this randomly and again change the dimensions, hit escape, select the mullion that you want to modify the dimension for, and pay attention. If I want to change the dimension for 2 vertical lines, I need to select that vertical line to be able to change this dimension. Students in the beginning click a lot on the horizontal line to change a horizontal dimension. That does not work. 5, 5, and 5. Did we go wrong way? So you see how it modifies the dimensions. It will, you need to select actually the right side of it to be able to change the dimension. So if I keep doing this, it will push that one to the other side, and then it will push this one to the other side. So I need to change the line I have selected. So make sure you play around with this until you get hold of it. I need to change this one to 5 also. The last one, the reason this one is not 5 is because this blue dot is actually on the edge. So I could modify this to the center of this wall. If you double click on this, it will change the location of that blue dot. But I'm fine now because it's actually the end of the curtain wall. So that's okay for this one to be shorter than the other ones. Let's check. Yeah, all of these are 5. So that's fine. Now let's add horizontal ones. Back to architecture tab. Curtain grid. Now let's add horizontal ones. 5. So this is sort of like the long way to do it. There is a shorter way. As you saw with the storefront, you could easily place a storefront and then it adds both grids and mullions for you. But if you don't do that, and you want, if you have a system that it needs more details and you want to do it in this way, then you could just add them one by one. I want to try different ways so you see how that works. Let's change that to 5. 5. Oops, again, I did that same thing. So this one, changing to this one to 5, then you should change your grid selection to be able to control the dimension line that you want to change its size. There we go. So it's okay that the last one has a shorter grid. Now I want to add mullions. So under build panel, again, you can click on mullion and you see that it says grid line. On all grid lines, on a segment. So I can choose all grid lines and then hover over my grids and then select them. All of them will be selected. So here I have mullions as well. There we go. Here is my curtain wall. And then I want to add another curtain wall in front with another type. So let's see how I can do that. Go back to modify. Let me actually show you something else. Here on top, if you choose two of these mullions, let's choose this one and this one. You see here that you have the option to make it continuous, break it, joint, filter. I will show you later. So make it continuous. If you click on that, those mullions on top will be continuous. So what we can do is that we can actually select all of them. If we use the tab key, so if I hover over this and use tab, it will actually go through all elements that are connected to each other. So you can do that and see if it will select the one that you want, but it will most likely go through like a closed loop when it comes to a curtain wall rather than a straight line. So you can also select all of them and then right click on it and select mullions on grid line, so that we select all of them on one grid line, and then you can say make continuous. So all of those are continuous. So that is one way to modify the mullions. So now again, I want to build a storefront in front of this one. So let's go back to level 1. Here is where I want to add that storefront. Okay, to do that, I can choose wall again, and here I am at curtain wall 1. So either I can use a storefront. I want to show you, if you go to edit type, you see how the construction, the vertical mullions, horizontal mullions, so it has all parameters already in place. So either I could use this, but let's do something else. Let's choose actually curtain wall 1 and then go to edit type. You see this one, as we saw also when I added one, you saw that it does not have the grid and mullions. So let's actually practice creating another curtain wall by duplicating this. Let's name it my curtain wall, and make sure you do not overwrite on existing one. Always duplicate when you want to change the parameters. Now let's change the function is still exterior. The system panel, let's change that to glazed. So scroll down until you find system panel glazed. For the joint condition, let's change it to border and vertical grid, both continuous. And under vertical grid, let's change the layout to fixed distance. And then the spacing 5 feet, that's fine. The layout of the horizontal grid, again, let's do the same thing. Let's change it to fixed distance and change the spacing to 11 feet. Vertical mullions, so let's change that to rectangular is fine, 1.5 by 2.5. Border type 1, let's use the same as the interior one, and horizontal ones, let's do the same thing for horizontal ones as well. 1.5 by 2.5. Okay, so here is the curtain wall, my curtain wall. Again, I duplicated, I renamed it. I don't want to overwrite on the original curtain wall. Say okay. Now I want to go from here to, I want to add it here. So let's pay attention to the constraints. It's going from level 1 to level 2. Let's change that to go all the way to the roof. And then I'm ready to start drawing. Make sure you start from the end point. I want this side to be 20 feet. So again, you can eyeball it or type number 20, enter. Okay, it is intersecting with my grid bubbles. Let's move the grid bubble. Okay, let's see if this is 20 feet. It's 19.6, so let's change that to 20. Now I want to choose that curtain wall again, my curtain wall, and I want to draw. So make sure you are in draw mode. And go back to that endpoint. Yeah, I guess I didn't have the, okay, from endpoint to here. Let's check it in 3D. There we go. Here is the curtain wall I added. And I'm wondering why at the top, I thought I have the right dimension so it goes all the way to the top, but that's fine. We can fix that later. So here's the sort of entrance that I have. And I also want to modify these, the storefront or this curtain wall. And I want to add doors here. Let's get rid of the command. So hit escape or click on modify first. Before adding a door, let's take a look at these corner mullions. So you see they actually, these are not really corner mullions. So let's change those. If you hold your mouse over one and click, and then right click, select mullions on grid line as we did before. You need to unpin all of this to be able to modify. So unpin them. And then if you go back to properties, you can choose an L corner one. So go back and L corner one. So you see the mullion changed. And then I want to do the same thing on this side. So again, hover over that, click, and select one mullion, right click, select mullions on grid line. You need to unpin them. And then modify to L corner. There we go. So on both sides, I have L corner mullions. I also want to add mullions on top as we have it here. So if you go back to modify and here I can add mullions from the build panel. So here you can add one on grid line. And the last piece here, so I'm going to select that grid line and add mullions on it. Over the grid line, under placement, I have grid line. So here I added, and the type, it's 2.5 by 5. So again, you could change this if you want. I think 2.5 by 5 is fine. You can also check the one here and see what was the one that we added here, 2.5 by 5. So we are fine. And here you can also clean up if you want. So if you want, you can push the wall a little further so these two also connect. I let you do that. I don't want to run out of time again with the studio. So I'm going to actually add a door here. I'm going to select the whole thing here. This one was my curtain wall. Let's change that to storefront. There was something it didn't like. Oh, because I guess the type. Let's try again and see if that works. Select everything. Let's change that to storefront. Somehow it doesn't like that mullion. Let's say delete element for now, and then we will add that back. So what I want to do is that I want to add a door here. So to do that, I need to delete this mullion. Actually, I'm going to delete both of these, so I can also show you how to delete. Unpin it, delete. I'm just using delete on my keyboard. Again, unpin it, delete. You could choose both of them, unpin and delete. So to add a door here, I also need to delete this grid line. As you see, if I click on the whole thing, it will select the whole grid line. That's not what I want to delete. If you delete that, the mullions will also delete. Pay attention to the curtain grid here under the ribbon, so you can add remove segments. So click on that, and then you can easily remove just segments of the grid rather than all of it. So add remove segment. There we go. So now I have an opening here, and I can add a door here. To add the door, first I need to load the door I need. So go to Insert tab. Here we have Load Family. And here under the Revit libraries, you have US Imperial. If you go to that and find doors, here I have door curtain wall double glass door and door curtain wall double storefront. Either one I think should work. So let's use one. Now it should have been loaded. So let's select this opening. To do that, you need to hold your mouse over one piece of mullion, and then you can use tab key until it selects that opening for you. If it doesn't, then hold your mouse over another piece of the mullion. It should go through all elements connected, and it should open. Now it is a system panel glazed. If you use the drop down menu, you should have that door curtain wall double storefront that you loaded. So now you can add it. If you go to details and choose fine, it will also show you the doorknobs. Because I used a long, like two of those 2 stories, it's a very long door. The doorknobs are here, lower. So that's how you can modify. If you also want to add more mullions here, you could do that. So for example, let's say you want to, at the bottom, you want to add more mullions, you could go back to architecture, you can add a grid. Here you could use one segment, add a segment in the middle. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Oh, so make sure, I thought I was at the, so here it should draw actually a vertical one. That's what I want. There we go. So again, if you hold your mouse over the horizontal one, it should draw a vertical one. And there we go. So, and then again, to remove them, if they are continuous, you need to make sure that you use that add remove segment as I showed you for the grids. Okay, here I also have a door, and I have created my curtain wall and the storefront and sort of the entrance to the building. If you'd like to practice more, you could place doors on the sides. That's how it is in the chapter. But let's place regular doors for the offices and cubicles we created. Not for cubicles, but for those little offices. So let's go back to level 1. And here, so after wall, under build panel, we have door. So save the project. So here I can place a door. As you see, depending on where my mouse is, the door will open to inside or outside. And it actually looks for a host. So doors need a host. It looks for a wall. So make sure that you are over a wall to place the door. So you can click, if you hit escape, space, it will change the orientation. So you can, if it's not at the right orientation, you can hit a space bar, and then it will change the orientation and you can place it. We want it to be 2 feet 6 inches from the wall. So if it's not there, then we can change it. So you see, now it's 2 feet. Again, you can eyeball it, or you can first place it, and then you can modify that dimension. You should go back to modify, select the door, click on that dimension line, and change that to 2.6, enter. Oops, the direction changed. I think I hit spacebar by mistake. So I hit the spacebar again until it is in the right location. 2 space 6, enter. It is at the right location. Go back to architecture tab, choose door. That is a single flush 36 by 84. That's fine. That's the same type I used for the other 2. So now we can place the other doors as well. And we want to also place a door here to enter the building. Another door here. So for this one, you can hit spacebar to change orientation. And then doors here, again, hit spacebar to change orientation. Here are the doors I added. So now let's add some windows. Go back to architecture tab, go to window, and the default type is 36 by 48. You can change that. Let's change that to 36 by 72. And I'm going to add windows for these offices. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now for spacing, you can practice using EQ. So go to modify. Select one of those windows, select a dimension line, and then you can go from the center of one to another, to the next one, and the last one. Click outside and then hit EQ. So practice adding windows on this side as well and use EQ. And here we have actually added walls. In this lecture, we have added doors and we have added windows. If you want to practice more, you're welcome to add more windows and doors on the other side of the building as well. I'm going to save it and see you next time.